Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Wednesday to you and your family. Sorry for missing a video yesterday. Of course, had a lot going on in the back end with the website, kind of optimizing things too, and it's a really cool situation. It's getting much better. So fantastic stuff there, and really cool features too with the new website. I particularly love being able to use my Discord through the site itself, and just kind of being able to show some of the benefits here. So just take a quick look if you are not familiar, and perhaps you're new to the channel. We have some amazing traders here. 89% from a long on render, and just before that, he shorted all the way down for 31%. So again, sometimes you can just ride that up and down. A lot of folks will do that. Same thing here as well with K71, one of my better traders here. More recently, we can see almost 200% on some of these longs here for what LRC, Rose, and Phantom. So great job on that. Keep up the good work, and our signals too, awesome stuff here as well, because with the Bitcoin trades that we took recently, we got some healthy profits, 56% in 5 days. I mean, I don't know any traditional markets where you can do that, right? So very cool stuff. Our recent Ethereum short closed itself out after reaching take profit. That's very standard with our trailing take profit targets, trailing stop losses. We have a really cool system fully automated through Cornix, and it's really amazing. But take a look at this here as well. We've also got a BNB trade for 34%, and we're at target number 2. So we still got 3 targets to go, so that should be even further, but that was a nice little 20-hour 35%. So really cool stuff there. Keep up the good work, everyone. Really happy for you on the positive gains. Keep in mind, of course, if you want to see some positive gains yourself, you got to use a good exchange. Bybit's one of my favorites, as well as BitGet, of course. But Bybit, I'd recommend just based on the fact that it integrates solely with my Cornix subscriptions. So you can get a free trial through the website if you want. Same thing with Cornix, they offer a free trial too. You can see if you like the automated trading. If you're more of a manual trader, we got a $4,000 prize pool running right now through BitGet. 4 days less on this competition, and we can see here we got some good traders here qualifying there. The top 3 in each category will essentially take a USD bonus, right? So we can see 750, 450, and 300 are the profiteers there. So really cool stuff. Thanks again, BitGet, for offering that. And of course, if you want an exchange that doesn't require VPN in the US, for example, a lot of my members are in the US. MEXC Global has you covered. You got no VPN requirement and a nice sign-on bonus too. So a lot of cool stuff going on here. Again, a lot of little cool features. These are all things that I want to bring to my community, and I'm very thankful to be able to have that as an option. So again, cryptocash.tech is a site if you want to kind of consider that and take a look at some of those features. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin though, let's talk about this here. So we had this descending trend. Again, it hasn't confirmed itself because today's candlestick hasn't closed, but for lack of better terms, we got these lower highs that kept getting established, right? And with this breakthrough here today so far, it's showing great strength in the sense that this descending trend is allowing us to discontinue. And what that really just implies is that we're probably making higher lows on smaller time frames, and the fact that we're no longer going down. Okay, simply put, I know this isn't a higher high, right? This technically isn't as high as this, I get that. But the starting point is higher lows, and we'll be able to identify that in smaller time frames, but you can see higher lows are getting established. It's a big breakthrough from what we had before. Okay, so those are positive signs. That's why a descending trend being broken is a good indication that the bulls are more so in control and that we're slightly more bullish than we are bearish. And I say slightly because we're not going to be bullish until we break 25K, honestly. We have a very strong resistance at that zone, and we're probably still going to be range bound between 21 and 25K for some time. But when we break above or below those levels, then we have a different conversation. Until then, though, we're looking pretty positive. Let's go ahead and take a look at some moving averages. As I mentioned before, we have this strong support zone here where the 50-day SMA is averaging itself out. The 200, once again, is right there at that 19,800 range. While it is still possible for that CME gap between 19,800 and 20,500 to get filled, it hasn't yet, okay? So keep in mind that could still happen. But bottom line here is this is a strong support zone based on moving averages and, of course, Fibonacci. We take a look at the 50 on the RSI here. We can kind of see that we've dipped below that for a few days. But once we broke above, we've been considered tentatively bullish, right? Now, volume isn't really necessarily increasing in the overall sense of things, so this is actually a good sign because it implies that with us maintaining this price point at low volume, there's a stronger chance the price could continue when more volume comes into play. We'll look at some volume indicators here in a second, but for the most part, that's fairly positive. We also have a potential convergence on the MACD forming here as well on the daily, and I think that's great. So the bottom line here is that we're looking pretty good on the daily. Okay, fantastic stuff there. Just to take a quick peek though, remember again, we talked about this previously on the monthly. we are testing or got rejected out at that 50-day SMA on the monthly. And then same thing with the weekly as well. We had this death cross here, essentially just maintaining the fact that this 50-day SMA very well could work as a resistance level moving forward. That's why 20,500 is a strong resistance, because that's right where everything's averaging itself out. Okay, so don't get ahead of yourself right now. Don't think that just because today looks good, we're in the clear, you go long for everything. It does imply we should likely see some more profit to the upside. Confident we'll hit our targets on our current trades we have open as a community. But on the same accord, we need to respect the fact that there are resistance levels in place. Okay, so again, that's the kind of thing with trading. You can't get too overamped in either direction. It is okay to get excited, but make sure you steel yourself and don't let that get the best of you. Right? Our emotions are technically our enemy when it comes to trading. Okay, I teach that in my Trading Academy videos. Be sure to watch Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 if you're currently a community member. But bear in mind, that is something that's important. Okay. Keep in mind too, with our new premium packages, there is options to be able to have that Trading University and the community aspect without the signals if you don't care for that. Okay, we have those different tiers available. So when it comes to Bitcoin though, here's the thing we got to look at with a 4-hour time frame. We are looking fairly overextended, but I think we got a decent amount of consolidation. So if you can see here, kind of where we're at, right? Previously we came down to a 9, overexhausted. The price came back up to reject this level. We had this strong short squeeze here, went sideways, and then continued higher. That was pretty much an ascending pattern, right? A type of bullish breakout pattern. You see that happen all the time in trading. The 1 hour will be a lot easier to identify that, but that's essentially what happened, right? Because you see this resistance area here, right here at about 21,200. Sorry, correction, 22,000 even. 22,000 even, we saw this level here where the price came up, got rejected, came back up, broke through and came back down to retest that as a support. That's a tried and true, very common characteristic of price discovery, or in this case, short-term price discovery, where the price is discovering itself in this range. Now that it broke free from that range, the price is going higher. That being said, this is when we took some longs for BNB and got those nice healthy profits in 20 hours because Bitcoin looked like it was breaking bullish and BNB is overextended to the downside. That's a conversation for another day, but just another little thing you can kind of identify in the price action based on overextension. So again, overextended to the downside, price goes sideways. Comes back down to another 7, up to another 9 here, right? We're at 9 plus. So you could hypothetically say we're in overtime, but in truth, we probably have another, if we're only about 2 4-hour candlesticks in, we have probably another 24 hours of bullish continuation left. The reason why I say that is because we had a healthy period of consolidation right here. Okay, so again, that to me is long enough on a 4-hour time frame because that's about 20 to 24 hours of continuation before the price broke through its resistance, and that in most cases is enough. Usually 24 hours is a perfect period. So my speculation is we'll see about 5 to 7 more 4-hour candlesticks to the upside, and a likely continuation sideways, and then we'll see from there where it goes. But for now, the immediate momentum is up. Okay. Now, even though we are at a 9 plus into sequential, don't let that confuse you because that period of consolidation was nice. Keep this in mind too. We just broke up over 70, and traditionally speaking, when you're up over 70 on the RSI, on the 4-hour specifically, the price will go up a little bit further and then sideways and consolidate. Okay. So you can kind of see here, we're at 70 plus on the RSI. Price goes sideways, consolidate for a period of time. It's not a guarantee it's going to happen that way, but hey, we got a period of consolidation here. The price could likely go sideways. So I'm speculating we're going to go sideways for a little while. Maybe not significantly up, but if we were to go up, we got to keep in mind this level right here at 0.236, 23,400 is a resistance level. So if you're going to long from 22,900, make sure you take some profit before we hit that 23.4 mark. Okay? Because again, Fibonacci and previous highs are establishing that as a resistance area. Okay, so if we come up further, good chance we'll get a rejection there, come back down to consolidate at the current price point, and perhaps even continue further up if we have the setup for that. Again, that's why you reevaluate trading consistently. You can never just be okay with one analysis and then call it. You have to consistently reanalyze things, and that's why I like to cover this daily, not just for my community members, but for me personally, so I can make sure to always be on par with my trades. Whether it's altcoins or regular coins, Bitcoin, whatever. You need to look at things daily, and Bitcoin is the most important one to understand because the majority of other coins are going to be basing their success off of Bitcoin's overall movement. Speaking of which, we have a strong convergence here on the MACD. So again, even though we are somewhat overextended, there's a greater chance the price goes up than down from here to at least retest this 23,400 mark. Taking a look at the 1 hour, let's see if there's anything here we can identify. Let's see here. So taking a look at overextension here, came up to an 8, went sideways, got a reset, kind of all over the place because we had this weird little candle wick up and down, but that was just a nice strong short squeeze. So if you see this here, take a look at this line. This is that line I kind of showed you before, right here at 22,000. See the price cut up here, rejected, comes down, comes up here to retest it. Instead of doing a cup and handle, it just broke straight through. So when you see that break through that resistance level right here at this level, you can see the price comes up to retest that as that support. So it's almost always an occurrence in trading where a resistance level is broken, it retested as a support level, and then it continues higher. Inverse applies as well for shorts, but generally speaking, that's essentially what happened. The price comes up, comes back down, hits this little support range where the previous resistance becomes a new support, and 22,000, what do you know, is the new support level. So again, if you're going to consider a long position right now, a price point just below 22,000 for a stop loss would be appropriate, right? That's generally what you want to do. The most recent low and or the previous high is a good point for a stop loss. Okay, in other words, this would be a good stop loss area, or this here as well. Right in this range, stop loss right here. Okay. Again, I get that question a lot, so I like to kind of touch on it, but generally speaking, that's how I structure my trades. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait, that's a 1-to-2 ratio. You're going to lose more than you're going to gain if you're just going to 23,400. That might be true, but when it comes to leverage and certain things in that sort, you're only using a small percentage of your overall portfolio, right? So it's actually okay to take some losses like that when you have multiple gains in place, right? So to me, I'm okay with taking a 50% loss on occasion, as long as I'm having more profitable days, right? And majority of my days are profitable, so just keep that in mind. Everyone has different strokes for different folks, right? That's just the way it goes. But to me, a 1-to-2 ratio in some cases can be very beneficial. A lot of trading bots, in fact, one that we're creating, have that kind of ratio in place, but it takes a lot more wins at 80 to 90%. So it's okay to take some of those larger losses as long as you have a lot of small gains, okay? And that's what the whole thing about trading is. You got to take the wins when you can, and some folks are getting a little too greedy, and that's how they get kind of wrecked. So just please be careful. All right, last thing but not least, lagging span, free and clear of price action, conversion line. Above the baseline, we are losing some momentum here, but we haven't lost it completely, and we're well above the cloud. So as you can see here, the cloud here is averaging itself out around 22,300. So hypothetically, the price pulls back, we could and should very well see the support level at about 22.6 holding in place. So to me, the overall sense of what I'm seeing here is that we're tentatively bullish. And again, I like to emphasize tentatively because I have some people would be like, hey, bullish, let's go long on Bitcoin. Not necessarily. There's a lot of caveats, right? But we've established the fact that we have a pretty decent amount of continuation. The momentum seems pretty good. A pullback would make sense, but it makes a lot more sense for the price to go up a little further before it pulls back, right? Just know we're going to have a resistance at 23,400 if the price continues higher. So if it can get to that price point before the next 24-hour point or period, then we'll see a pullback stronger. If the price action just say continues sideways from now, then we're going to be in a situation where the price action will continue up from there, but we need another period of consolidation. So I know it seems kind of, I don't know, circular in how I'm saying this, but generally speaking, there's a lot of different things that could happen, but it's best to expect the price to go up a little further before it comes down. That's kind of what the charts are telling us until it proves otherwise, okay? So again, I'm not saying to go long or short. I'm actually recommending maybe just waiting a little bit longer for consolidation. But if you were to long, make sure you take some profits before 23,400. And if you're going to short, make sure they're nice and tight because there seems to be a lot of good momentum right now. And even though we're slightly overextended on smaller time frames, that still is not a reason to take a trade. Everything else is telling us that we're probably going to continue up from here, okay? And again, 25,000, we know that's a strong resistance level. If the price keeps pushing up to that level, expect an immediate rejection at that price point, more specifically right around the 24K mark. We'll get there. We'll talk about it when we get there. And I think that's in the relative near future, but on the same accord, we still have to be very, very open to the fact that a 19,000 or less price point is still a potential reality later this year, okay? So I'm not completely sold on Bitcoin taking off from here, but if you look at the 4-year cycle, we're kind of delayed and behind. So it makes sense that we're considered overall bullish in the overall sense of things. I'm still not completely convinced yet. All right, enough rhetoric. I apologize. I talked in circles today. A much longer video than I like to normally put out, but thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something here today. We'll get more information here again tomorrow, and be cautious and careful. Congrats again to my community members for just being amazing people and great trades all together. Keep up the good work. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.